Comments and gossip, it's hard to imagine the stress that I'm under. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm sorry for spitting the truth. Sorry for dissing that dude. Sorry for missing the point of the criticism. I was blinded by diamonds and loot. I apologize to all you guys. Y'all were right, I was out my mind. I went too far, I did too much. The haters were right when they said I suck. I did my best, it did nothing for me. I gave my guts and got lost in glory. I'm standing here while you sit before me. There's nothing left but to say I'm sorry. That doesn't bother me. I don't know anybody, an apology. I don't have no regrets in my biology. Reload and shoot for the stars, y'all look like astronomy. No one as hot as me, copy me commonly. Wannabes, y'all are so shockingly comedy. Carry the weight of my songs all on top of me. I will not break, I'm not made out of pottery. Bury your bodies on acres of property. Place them at angles like sacred geometry. Down with the modesty, everything I drop is quality. Promise, like honestly, follow me. I ain't gonna stop with the hits. Come rock with the kid on block like Pac with a pin. I'm a god with a pin, no cops.
Aaron Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
All right, let's get this party started. Getting this queued up myself. At some point, I have to press some buttons even on my end to make this stuff happen. So, while I move slow and you guys move fast, give me 2 seconds to pull this up on my phone. There we go. Now I got it. Hey, now I can join you. We can all join each other together. I already see some stars out there in Facebook land. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Always appreciate it. Celebrate Lunar New Year with stars. How about that? Thank you, Facebook. All right. So, welcome. I'm Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle. It is Saturday night. It's just a little after 9:15, so the new data has arrived. I've been looking at what's been going on out there so far for the last couple of hours and what is about to come our way. So you came to the right place. We're going to make this broadcast a lot shorter than the last ones. We've got into a lot of detail about a lot of things, and this time around you should pretty much know all that by now. So we're kind of mostly cut to the chase. Which some of you are going, yeah, it's about time. But hey, you know what? You don't come here for this. You come here for the science. So that's why we get down and dirty with you. All right, let me start you with, let's see, let me minimize this. By the way, thanks for you guys for watching on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and both Facebook pages. Okay, so with that said, let's get on with it. All right, so here is a look at the current radar view across the state. What you see are temperatures in the teens. You can ignore 43 degrees. That's obviously a airport observation error. But otherwise, what you may be focusing your attention on is this stuff out here in southwest Oklahoma. And what this is going to be is going to be some very good snow developing here. We'll just give it just a matter of time. Hold on, let me do something here real quick before I get into that. I have to restart something, and it wasn't working for me, which, you know, sometimes that happens. All right, let's get that going. So you can just stare at my face for another 5 seconds. Okay, so here we are. Let's try this again. All right, let me see if this will work. There it goes. I had to get my telestrator loaded. Okay, so out here in southwest Oklahoma, this is the beginning of our first round of this storm system coming in for the weekend. Now, most of this is very, very light. Not a lot of it's reaching the ground. If it is, it's going to be basically glorified flurries at this point. Nothing extremely heavy just yet. We get some darker green values in the DBZ, though, that should indicate that snow is reaching it to the ground. But this has been going on now for about the last hour or so, and it continues to expand. Let me put this into motion for you. You can watch how it's moving from southwest to northeast and then kind of blossoming with time. And so this will be the trend over as we head into the midnight hour. So more snow will be developing in western Oklahoma and this snow will be pressing into central Oklahoma with time. Then once it gets here, well, it's here until about Monday morning. All right, so let me pause that. Let me show you the other, of course, interest. We have a lot of dry air coming in. There's dew point values in the single digits. That's going to be a factor as temperatures will be falling close to these dew point values for the actual air temperature. And we do have, of course, some gusty winds out there. They're around 20, 25 miles per hour at times today. They're still quite gusty, and they're out of the north. And so what that's doing is causing a wind chill value here to be below zero across many areas of the state, and it gets worse from here. So this is actually considered warm, believe it or not. Consider what's coming our way for our Valentine's Day. So you're like, okay, Aaron, I already know all this stuff. Let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, well, let's get on with the big picture. Let me show you, first off, the Weather Service is highlighting an area here in central Oklahoma where we got that developing snow to blossom and move into maybe parts of north central Oklahoma, with producing some slightly higher snowfall rates overnight. So don't be surprised you wake up to a couple of inches of snow about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning from this first wave. And we can look at this situation here. Here's the upper level disturbance. Here's the center of it. And it's piping in all this moisture from the jet stream, pushing right into Oklahoma and all the energy associated with it. The last little disturbance down here into Texas, kind of falling apart a little bit, but has generated some precipitation that's moving on off to the north and east. And then we've got kind of an in-between zone, but the energy from this second guy is starting to affect us here. You can start to see some more white showing up in the blue, and we're getting rid of this yellow. The yellow is dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, so we're getting rid of whatever dry air we had. You need those clear, sunny skies we saw today, and we're now replacing with cloud cover and now some developing snow. So that is our upper level system showing up in the water vapor channel. When we expand our view across the entire southern plains, you can see the influence of that as that snow line, the heavy line, the leading edge is starting to press in. So that deeper moisture. Here's that little kicker out ahead of it that's developing here into central and southwest Oklahoma. And then what's left of that little system down south, they're getting a little bit of light freezing rain and some sleet in that area. All right, so that's the big picture there. Let's go a reminder, as always, on my website, aarontuttle.com, and on my weather app, which is free, AT's Weather to Go, you will find the Oklahoma road conditions. So make sure you take a look at that for tomorrow. If you have to be doing some traveling, you will get the snow route maps you can pull up on your device, and you can see how those look for you. And then eventually you're going to get some road conditions that'll start to populate as things go downhill. And there's going to be a lot of these camera networks out here where you can click on these individual cameras to see the road conditions where these truck drivers are. And of course here in the cities, both in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, Lawton, Purcell, you get the traffic camera network to boot. So the latest data has been coming in here for this evening. No big changes. Still has about ½ inch of QPF. That's this black line right here. So that's basically the average of the models that are tightly clustered. You want to see a tightly clustered forecast group of models for your confidence as a forecaster. So ½ inch on the table. All right, now the big picture here shows the upper level storm system. This is that big area of red you see in this region right here. So this red, this lift, this enters the atmosphere, is working its way across our state. So that'll be storm system number 1. And it does wrap up a little bit. It's kind of a little bit of an upper low appendage to it. Look, right over Oklahoma as it moves on by for Sunday night and Monday morning. That moves out, and guess what happens right after that? We have another round of energy that zips on down to move into the southern plains. Now this one is still up in the air. The models are going back and forth as to whether or not it'll be more organized or more of an open wave trough. There's a big difference in the output between the two. If it's more of an open wave trough, we get a lot less precipitation out of it. If it comes in more of a closed low, we get a lot more precipitation out of it. And it's still too early to call which way that's going to go. We will get some snow out of it, and it'll be significant, so that much we do know. Are we going to get a foot out of it, or are we going to get 4 inches out of it? That's the kind of the question that we're looking at, and we're going to deal with that a little bit later. All right, so speaking of snow ratios, we've been talking to this till we're blue in the face. Normally we're around 10 to 1 in this part of the country, but we're going to be a little higher than that. We're going to be up around 20 to 1, maybe even 25 to 1. This is a look at kind of the rule of thumb. It doesn't always necessarily apply, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb, and we'll massage this a little bit. But if you have surface temperatures down around 12 degrees, you're at about a 25 to 1 snow ratio. If you get down around the single digits, where we're going to be for our Sunday, technically we could get down to 30 to 1. Now I think that might be a little overdone this part of the country. These are usually kind of seen up in the north, but it kind of goes to show you we're going to have a multiplication factor to get some accurate snowfall forecast totals. Speaking of north, where they have the Great Lakes, we have our own mini lakes, and these little mini lakes will provide a lake effect snow. So if you live on the south and southwest side of the lake, probably within quarter mile, half mile, there's going to be some sweet spot where it is just going to dump on you. And you're probably going to end up with 30 inches of snow. And I would love to see the pictures from that. So if you live on the southwest side of Hefner or Ten Killer, Thunderbird, Oologah, wherever it is across the state, if you've got a dumpage of snow because of lake effect, please take some pictures. I'd love to see it. How lake effect snow happens is when that cold air blows across the lake, it picks up the heat and moisture that has not frozen yet, then that just happens to help it to dump extra snow in addition to what the storm system itself is already doing. So that's what I'm saying. You kind of get a little extra double boost. We're also going to have some ice with this event, but not here in Oklahoma. So friends traveling and family down south along the upper Texas coast, that's where some of the heavier amounts will be. There'll be a pepperidge of some light stuff here in central Texas. There'll be some sleet mixed in, maybe a little bit patchy light freezing drizzle, but by far and large a quarter inch or so down to southern third of Texas and down to Louisiana. And that's significant. And most of the models agree that's kind of the hot zone here over the next 48 hours. In Houston, they are in for a rough go. They are not used to seeing temperatures this cold, which will be in the teens. And so they're going to have some pipe bursting issues down there and obviously trying to stay warm. So that's going to be a mess for those folks to deal with. Okay, so now let's get into the fun part. How much snow are we going to see? So this is, I'll tell you what, we'll start with the QPF first and the timing, and then we're going to see how well the models do on the conversion of that. Okay, so we're going to go through a slew of short-range, high-resolution models, and we're going to see a trend that'll kind of point out at you. You see it 0.5. All right, now this is if it was all rain. You have to take your brain out of winter weather season and just think of thunderstorm season, right? So if you look at this and we were to measure half an inch of rain, of course it won't be rain, it's going to be snow, so we have to convert this into snow. And that's why we look at those ratios I mentioned earlier. So we're going to look at a 15 to 1 ratio, a 20 to 1 ratio, maybe even a 25 to 1 ratio. It's not out of the question. Somebody might briefly see a 30 to 1 ratio, but more than likely we'll be underneath that. But what we're going to do is multiply those numbers times your QPF, which is right here on the map. Now this is the high resolution HRR. It's one of our better models that we have, probably the best as far as what we can throw into a model. Now the take home here that you're going to see with this and others is going to be a southwest to northeast streak of some much higher amounts compared to everywhere else. All right. So it's where this little sweet spot lines up as to who really gets dumped on. So, okay, so there's the position of that model. It's north and west of Oklahoma City. I'll tell you what I could do. Let me just do this. And no, I can't do that. Okay, we'll leave it this for now. Okay, so anyway, that's the short version. Here's another one that comes in, blows it up from Tulsa, central Oklahoma, down south. Here's another one. It does the same thing, same kind of idea. Here's another one, a little more broad, not quite as high on the totals, up to 3/4 of an inch, but it's still easily half an inch. This is just our generic NAM model, short term, it's good. Here's the high resolution of that. It tries to chop it up and try to pick some sweet spots, but you see the picture here. Central Oklahoma is the bullseye for about a half inch of precipitation. The blend of models is not bad. It's going to average out to a little over 0.4, so close to 0.5. It will not pick up those little sweet spots that we're trying to find. Here's the Canadian, also kind of has it lined up southwest to northeast. So from Oak City, Tulsa is a real favorite area. It's been looking for the last several model runs over the last couple of days as being someone is probably going to see anywhere from 12 to maybe 14 inches of snow where you can really peak those out. Now with the blowing snow, it's going to be kind of hard to do, so keep that in mind. But down in Dallas, if you're watching down here, you're going, well, how much are we going to get? Well, you multiply down here about a 10 to 1 ratio. So you're looking at about probably 5 inches of snow for your area. So we'll get to the breakdown on the specifics of that here in a second once we see how well the actual models do. But that would be if we had it all liquid. All right, now also we're going to have some wind gusts out there. Let me do that here in a second. Let's just jump right into the snowfall. This is just going to show you what some of the different models like, and they're not all going to be right. Matter of fact, most of them are going to be wrong, and I'll explain that why. But here's a look at the high-resolution HRR, and it does have that little sweet spot, remember, up here to the north, so that's about 10 inches of snow. Here's one here that gets a little carried away, but there's the 14 inches, 15 inches. Obviously, that's really ridiculous. That says 18 inches, 19 inches. Here's another one of those CAM models. Sometimes they get a little carried away, but there's about a foot of snow. Here's one that's got plenty of 10-inch, close to 10 inches, and some pockets of foot up around the Tulsa area. The NAM is a little bit more widespread with just the generic 8+ inches. The high resolution of that, we'll throw in a few 9s sneaking in here. And then the Canadian, same kind of idea that stretched from southwest to northeast, kind of along the I-44 corridor, some sweet spots in there. Otherwise, 8. So you can see a minimal, every model, a minimum of 8 inches of snow. A lot of these are using a 10 to maybe 15 to 1 ratio. We get a 20 to 25 to 1 ratio, you got to add another 2 to 4 inches to all of these numbers, which gets us back up to around a foot of snow possible here in central Oklahoma. So that's kind of look at how the snow totals look. That's the trend. So, I'm comfortable showing you those type of maps and letting you know that the way things are going, the higher snowfall amount should be kind of anchored here in central Oklahoma, stretching up to that little fine line to northeast and southwest. Northwest Oklahoma, although your snowfall ratios are better for more fluffy producing snow, you might not quite have as much QPF, so it may kind of offset. So you may not quite get anything more than a foot out there as a result of that. Okay, so let's get in closer. So and also got to show you the wind gusts too. So we're going to do that as well, because we talked about near blizzard conditions, right? So let's see what that looks like. So we'll start with the Canadian, and you can see we have winds gusting up to around 30 to 35 miles per hour in parts of the state for tomorrow morning on into the afternoon. Then they kind of calm down a little bit tomorrow night. And then things, of course, get real quiet, and then later on they'll pick back up as the next storm system arrives in the middle of next week. Timing. So when does all this arrive? Well, first off, you look at the radar, it's already started out in western, southwestern Oklahoma, and the models don't even know it's there. It's so sad. They sometimes underperform so poorly. But regardless, they finally kick it on at 3 o'clock in the morning, so they're about 6 hours late to the party. But regardless, it kind of does show the snow continue to expand and move to the east during the day tomorrow in the evening hours. It starts to wrap up to some light stuff by Monday morning, just some flurries, and that moves on out of here. And then as we go through time, Tuesday, the secondary round of snow starts to move in, probably late morning, and that stays with us throughout the afternoon on Tuesday. And that's just the first wave of that second system through Wednesday morning. And it depends on how it comes through. If it's an open wave like this, that may be all she wrote. If it can cut off more and more of a low, it'll be this first wave followed by a secondary stronger wave for late Wednesday afternoon into Thursday morning. So that's something we'll watch for down the road. And I'll look at a global model here in a second. We'll focus more on that in just a minute. But I want to stick with what was happening here locally first. Now let me go in really close. We'll do Oklahoma State, as you can get your boundaries better. So you can pick at least your nearest city or at least your nearest spot on the map of where you know you live. Now for the HRR model, it does blow up the snow finally, but it doesn't do it till 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, as you know, it's already happening. That's good news for your snow lover. It means you're already getting more than what the model already thinks. Now that'll move on by that first wave through 6 a.m. All right, so the first good wave is already moved out of here, so it's a good 6 hours overnight. So you got to get at least a couple inches of snow out of that. You have to. There's no way you couldn't with that first wave. All right, and then the second wave comes in mid-morning, starts to get heavier at 9, 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock at noon, it's snowing pretty heavy here in central Oklahoma. Through 1, 2, 3, 4, it starts to move off into eastern Oklahoma. We get those little flurries and light snow showers Sunday night, and then Monday morning is pretty much gone. Like we mentioned earlier, the QPF, even for this map, similar to the others, You've got about 0.4 to 0.5. That's why I say widespread. It's very similar look to this and all the other models. And then this is where I'm going to point on, showcase your snow ratio. You know what? Let me do this. This is going to be easier for me to do. So let's do this. I did this at lunchtime today. I thought it worked out pretty well. So we'll do this way as well. So let's see. I want Sunday. Man, it's hard to believe it's going to be that cold. I mean, just brutal. Okay. At the peak, there's noon. At the peak of the heavy snow that's moving through central Oklahoma. Okay. So we got this map and this map. So we're going to play a little game here. It's called Contour the Snow Ratio. Alright, so we're going to go a snow ratio. It says about 5 degrees here, but that's only because it's snowing really heavy. Otherwise, the actual air temperature for 5 degrees is probably going to be like this, snaking through. Okay, so this is where you're going to have, when it gets close to 0, especially, 30 to, get that on there. Come on, you can do it. 25 to 1. Where we're going to go with the next snow ratio line will be, where's the 12 degree line, is something like this, through Sherman, north of Dallas, out here northwest of Dallas. Now in here, you're looking at about a 20 to maybe at some point a 25 to 1 snow ratio. And then down here, you're probably looking at mostly a 10 to 1. There's going to be a fine line of 10 to 15, a gradient. But that kind of looks like how that's going to be. And then if you, now, oh, oops, wrong one. Overlay that on your precipitation map, you would multiply these numbers by this ratio. So, for example, if you just took 0.4 in Tulsa and you multiply it by 20, well, that's 8 inches of snow. You multiply it by 25, and now you got to add a couple more inches to that. See how quickly you can get to 10 inches or even a foot, especially even here in central Oklahoma. There's 0.5 here in Oklahoma City. So if you do a 20 to 1 ratio, we're at 10 inches of snow. And the ratio is going to be a little different. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up the latest snow ratio forecast from the models on a different view. I didn't do that before I started, but I'm going to do that here in a moment. But let me move on to the next thing. By the way, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Not that you guys aren't already prepared for this, but these are the actual temperatures on Sunday. And when you factor in the wind chill, which we'll do here real quick, let's see, zoom this down. We're looking at a wind chill values into the negative teens, and there will likely be some negative 20s here for Sunday as that system moves through and those winds really kind of gust. So there's noon, 1 o'clock. They kind of stay. As the winds maybe drop off a little bit in parts of the day. And, they fluctuate around -10, but then they primarily stay pretty chilly. And then as we head into Sunday night, those numbers get colder for Monday morning. Wind chill values in the negative 20s. These little white areas are about -30. So wind chill value around -30 for Sunday night into Monday morning. Again, dangerous. So dangerous. You're out there any length of time at all, less than 30 minutes, and you're in trouble. Just so you know, that's from frostbite and everything else under the sun, hypothermia, you name it. Okay, so want to make sure we threw that out there. I really don't need to go into this one. This is just the HRR model, but it's on a different view than what you're used to, but your flat view was good, so we'll leave it at that. Let's see, that one hasn't finished coming in yet. So I'll wait. I'll check back it before I finish wrapping up tonight. The extended outlook. The GFS, which has nailed this whole Arctic pattern and the things that are going on with it for over a week now, 10 days. I've been sticking with it the whole time. The European has stunk it up out to lunch. It may finally be coming around right now, but I can't put a lot of confidence in that solution just because it's, hey, sorry, buddy, you're late to the party. But the American model here is still going a solid inch of QPF, ½ inch now, another ½ inch in the middle of next week. That's up to 12 inches now. That's up to 12 inches next week with the snow conversion ratios. Temperatures, by the way, over the next few nights, brutally cold. Obviously, the negative numbers for actual air temperatures, and that's helpful, or thanks to all the snow on the ground. When you get a foot of snow or 10 inches of snow or 8 inches of snow, And if you can get skies to clear at all, winds to lighten, those temperatures will really crater. And you can pretty much ignore this warm up above freezing. Friday, Saturday, sunny, it's not going to happen. We'll struggle to get to freezing because of all the snow on the ground and the leftover Arctic air. But by next week, we should manage to get above freezing. But just know that this warm up will be tempered by that. The models just will never have a clue. That's just one of those things. Okay, so let me do this. I want to show you all my secrets. So let me load up something here real quick. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to load up the snow ratio. Take about 60 seconds to get this data that I want. And then we're going to take a look at that. So let me load this. Let's make this easy and just go with the NAM. No, let's do the HER. Yeah, let's do the HER. Let's try the HER out. All right, so we'll do, I wonder if I can do 0. Yeah, we'll try 0. Stand by. But I do want to thank all of you for liking, sharing, commenting on this video and all those other ones that I've been doing. That helps Facebook to let you know that you're interested, for one. So then it shows you more content. Plus, when I go live, it should notify you better. By the way, make sure that your notifications are still on. Facebook turned those off for you, by the way, when you weren't looking. So a lot of you have said, hey, they were off. I didn't know it. I said, yeah, well, it's Facebook for you. Okay, so let's go to the HER. Where am I? All right, we'll do Oklahoma City overview. And then I'm going to have to shrink this down. We'll get you in there. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Is that in there? Yeah, that's in there. Okay. So, this is the short-term model that we have, and it's a little different. We're going to go from right to left in the timeline. So this line I'm drawing right here, that's a terrible color. This line I'm drawing right here, up and down, that's just a clock, timeline clock. That's midnight tonight. This spot here is 6 a.m. This spot here is noon tomorrow, 6 p.m. So if I were to go 6, try that again, 6, noon, 6, and midnight. Got it? All right, so that's your timeline. Now, what we want to focus on is this blue line you see right here. You see this blue line, how it increases and goes up? All right, by the time the event ends, well, here in Oklahoma City, that's a 25-to-1 ratio. When it's right here between, let's call it 9 a.m., right here at this point, that's 9 a.m., it's a 20-to-1 ratio. Now, when the whole event starts currently, down here, we're at a 15-to-1 ratio. So when you multiply the QPF that falls, you have to use these different ratios during the course of the event. Now, if it was always 25-to-1 and we didn't have to do this ramp-up business, it'd be a lot easier to convert whatever QPF is to solid snow, and it would be much higher. But because we're ramping that up, you do have to subtract a little in the beginning of the event as far as what you could be seeing in the overall total. So that's why it's not a simple 25-to-1 multiplier, even though I try to make it as simple as possible. So what we could do is we could average this out and just keep it 20. We could average the 15 and average 25 and just make it 20. It's just a simple oversimplification view. And that way we take that 0.5 to 0.6 output from the QPF here in Oklahoma City and metro area. For you guys in Norman and Moore, go, what about us? So Oklahoma City metro area includes all of that region, and it even really expands all of central Oklahoma. You're looking at about a foot of snow. So that's how that works out. If I were also to look at this graphic as well, just for seeing what I see and what I like or don't like, snow growth layers got plenty of humidity overlaid with it, so that's good. It actually extends on downward, which is good. The omega, a little strong in this region here, and then midday tomorrow here. As far as omega goes, it's not that strong of a system, believe it or not. In other words, lift. The omega is the lift in the atmosphere, and I've seen better, but obviously this is going to do what we need it to do. So there you go. And then let me look at this real quick. See if that snow's done anything. And you can see out here west, there's the real stuff out here in Panhandle. Coming east, that's the heavy stuff. But this down here is the light stuff, and where you see the little light greens that sneak in here, that stuff's reaching the ground. Some of this light blue stuff is not. The darker blue stuff may, in the form of some light flurries. But that's what we've got so far. And let me see, maybe some of these observations are coming in to show that. Like here's one in Hobart. So this guy down here, this METAR report is suggesting there is some snow reaching the ground down here in this all this mess. So that's good. And I could go back to this other map we had, and I can see if there's any reports there. At nighttime, there's not as many reports as there are during the day, but they're starting to come in. So, for example, these little plus signs, that's snow being reported through the ping system. No one's reported the snow yet, but that just could mean that everybody's out drinking and not paying attention, just not reporting the snow. We need more ping people. So we can get some pingers out here in southwest Oklahoma to tell us what's up. But there should be some snow the way that's blossoming. It's just a matter of time if it's not hitting the ground already in most of these areas. But you can see it already blossoming here in central Oklahoma. This is all elevated, but won't be much longer before it's all coming down to the ground. And I think these are an error out here. But it's beginning. This is the first wave of this whole system that's coming in. So when you wake up in the morning, you're going to have a couple inches of snow on the ground. The favorite area for that is kind of in this region here. So that would be the most favored area for a couple inches of snow on the ground. Now you will have at least an inch of snow on the ground from this batch here that comes into this territory. It may end up being 2 inches. I mean, it's 6 hours, a long time for it to snow and not be at least that. So even in Tulsa, you guys, only exception really, I guess, would be southeast Oklahoma. This little section here, you guys may not have much to wake up to, but you will throughout the day and as the day goes on. Okay. Last thing let's talk about. Some of you have to drive. How do I know this? Because you inbox me. And you say, I have to go from here to here. I'm like, well, 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and drive slow and watch the person around you. Give yourself plenty of distance between you and everybody else, because you cannot control what they do, no matter how well of a good driver you are, and how well your tires work, snow tires, or whatever you got going on. Now, for road conditions, you can use my weather app and the websites I mentioned earlier. You can also call 511. You can visit the state DOT page, pack an emergency supply kit in your car. So you get mobile phone, charger, batteries, blankets, flashlight, first aid kit, a little bit of food, a little water. This is all in case you get trapped or stuck and no one's coming to rescue you anytime soon. Hardcore, a candle to melt the snow for drinking water, sand or cat litter for traction to get out, shovel, ice scraper, snow scraper, battery booster cables. Honestly, this needs to be updated in modern times now. For you can get a lithium-ion battery that's literally the size of a laptop battery that'll start your car, amongst a bunch of other things. They're less than $100. But I was too late to go do that, and it's too late to order from Amazon Prime. So you're gonna have to use the old-fashioned battery booster cables and hope that somebody's around you to give you a jump, because your batteries will suffer in this cold weather, especially if they're not new and they're a little old. They won't have enough cold cranking amps to get you going. But you can make sure your battery otherwise is prepared, other than the battery. So wipers, coolant, anything else that you're going to need, good tires. Make sure you get air in the tires, all that. So those are some tips that the Weather Service put out earlier today on Twitter. I thought, those are great to share. Your winter travel. Obviously, you want to tell your friends and family where you're going and the planned route of attack, so they know what road you're going to be on, just in case something happens. Obviously, you want to keep abreast of the road conditions. And then, last but not least, just some interesting ODOT facts that we talked about at lunchtime today. Just to tell you that those guys work, rain or shine, snow or ice, it doesn't matter. They're out there trying to get those roads cleared for you. They've got about 500 trucks statewide. Sounds like a lot of trucks, but remember, Oklahoma's a big state. So it may take a while to get your route cleared off, so have some patience for these guys and stay about 200 feet away from them. as they're on the road, don't pass them. Let them do what they got to do. All right. That's it. Everything else I could say at this point is a repeat. Tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna go look at the long range American model for the middle of next week. Is it in yet? 60 hours out. No, but it is in, at least for the short term. We'll see if it's any different than what we're looking at before on QPF and all that kind of stuff. So obviously it's got the snow here for tonight into early tomorrow morning, and that moves on out by Monday morning right there. So that's nothing new. Let's see what it does with the QPF from that. And it's actually, no, it's sadder. It's actually gotten a lot less than all of its other runs put together. So the first one where it's kind of gotten pretty weak, especially out here in parts of northwestern Oklahoma. Now your snow ratio is a little higher out here, so it'll kind of help offset that. But it still favors central Oklahoma, and there's a little spot down here it likes for heavier QPF and overall. But it doesn't really change snow totals too much. Remember, we're going to have snow drifts 2-3 feet because of those rocking winds out of the north at close to 30 miles an hour. So it's near blizzard conditions, believe it or not. It has to be about 35, but it will reduce visibilities down about a quarter of a mile. So if you're traveling, man, it's not going to be a pretty day. And then we'll look at the new version of the GFS, and we're going to see how that does. It's still cranking. It's still cranking, man. It's not giving up. So that's through Monday. So it's got the weekend on it, and it keeps that little sweet spot just out of the reach of Tulsa. You guys can just reach out, almost touch it. So it's just west of you, Osage County, through Stillwater, through Oklahoma City proper, and then back down to just north of Lawton, and that's around 6/10. So again, remember our average 20 to 1 ratio, that's 12 inches of snow. So that's a foot of snow. Man, it's hard to believe you can say a foot of snow with confidence and not even lose any sleep over it or about it. I don't remember ever being in that position, but I'm in it now. It's just weird, man. Because snow, man, I tell you, snow is a hot topic. And if you don't get it right, they'll burn you at the stake. So you gotta be real careful when you're talking about snowfall forecasts around Oklahoma. My goodness. Okay, so that's the latest look so far at the global model here, and it's still trekking in, so it doesn't have the middle of the next week yet, but it will here shortly. Let me check my phone because I had a message. I was talking with a fellow Met of mine. We're doing some behind-the-scenes meteorology stuff, making maps. Oh, yeah. So he's got. I told him. I said, run that new GFS model with the enhanced snow ratio that I like, the 20 to 1, and see what the snow comes out as. And he came out with 26 inches for, of course, the total of this one and the next one. So that's another foot for the next storm, right? 12 and 12, so a little bit more than that. That's based off the run that came out at noon today. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, obviously, a lot of you guys will be like, oh, double HE hockey sticks, whatever. No, because you don't want any more. I get it. But we're gonna see what happens with this new run coming in. If you want to hang tight and let you got somewhere to be, the news isn't starting until 10 anyway, so you got 8 minutes to hang out, and we're gonna see this new model trickles in, what it does for the middle of next week. Let's see. The old run of it is out to 81 hours. Let's see, what does that look like? Okay, so it's got the 0.4. It's already gone to 0.7, and that's just the beginning of the event. That's already 3/10, aka, remember, 20 to 1, that's 6 inches of snow on Tuesday already, and the system hadn't even finished coming out yet. I'm telling you, man. To me, look, it's exciting for me as a meteorologist to see this kind of stuff unwind. I dig it. Now, I don't dig, obviously, the downside of this whole thing. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but there's a lot of negatives in a big winter storm like this. I mean, the snow is great and all, but of course it affects people's jobs, livelihood, travel is dangerous, is deadly. You factor in obviously the wind chill, people that don't have adequate shelter or places to go, and there's loss of life. There's people that don't take care of their pets. That ends up being a bad deal. There's cattle, livestock that you can only do so much for, and they usually lose some of that. So it's overall it's a horrible thing to have. Although we do focus a lot on the snow because that's one of the bright, fun, pretty things to look at. The whole thing overall is really negative. But I try to be positive, Polly, in all this because I like the snow, and there's enough negativity out there in the world. But I do tell you about the frostbite. I do tell you about the hypothermia. I spent, a 4-minute video on that you could watch on my Facebook page as a recap for that if you missed it last night. We went into detail on that, what to look for, how to treat it. It may be counterintuitive to what you think you should do. So if you've never thought about it or know anything about it, you might want to watch that video. Kids, let's do a little round robin here. Stay off the ponds, stay off the lakes. I know what you want to do. Trust me, I was there, I did it. I live to tell about it, but somebody won't. That's just the way it goes. So parents, man, don't let them sneak out with their buddies and go head down the pond. You give them that good old talking to. But anyway, so that's a dangerous thing that happens. Leave your cabinets and stuff open tonight and all day tomorrow for the cold air outside the deal. Super Dude on YouTube, how's Larry doing? Larry's great. I've had more requests for Larry than I have for a weather update. Seriously, you people. So, what's Larry doing, Jody? Is he sleeping?
Oh, he's being called upon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he in there asleep?
Your people are calling for him all night.
I know. All right, I think she's going to bring Larry.
Yeah. Honey, it's unbelievable how they want to see him.
Okay, come here, buddy. Hopefully Mom can get you all riled up.
I didn't.
All right, so this is little Larry. And I do mean little. He's 3 pounds. And he's full grown, by the way. He's 3 years old. 3 and 3. Huh, buddy? They were calling for you today. He has those pretty brown eyes. Mm-hmm. Those big brown eyes. It wins all the ladies over. I know.
Larry was actually getting stars tonight.
What? You got stars? Do I just need to put you on? I can do it. Yeah, I'll just sit back. Let you take away. Let you steal the show. You have anything to tell the audience? Cat got your tongue? You have anything to say tonight? Starting to get a little squirmy. So, anyway. So this little Larry, he's made an appearance here the last couple of nights. And he's pretty docile about 10 o'clock. And 11 o'clock, he's out cold. Yeah. Aren't you, buddy? But he is a great guard dog. And the bark that comes out of this teeny tiny body, I do not understand the physics behind it. And he also thinks he's about 100 pounds and 10 foot tall. That's a big yawn. Huge yawn. So, but he loves barking at the front door. He's got a little window he peeks out, so he's always on duty. And he's got ears, man, he can hear anything. And he will go nuts. Right? All right, I'm talking about you. All right. I'm going to let you go. But I feel bad for him in one way, in that anytime you want to just scoop him up and love on him, he's got no say in the matter. You can just, Esther just sent some stars for little Larry. Pamela, he is no bigger than a June bug. He's tiny. But, you know what? 3 pounds is heavy after you hold him for a while. I mean, you carry him like this, and after a while, your arm's like dead. But he's so cute. But, yeah, he's, man, listen. He's one of the best dogs, and the personality he's got, ridiculous. Oh, that's right. You know, we need to get a video or picture to show. If you can email me that picture from the car or that video, that link. Did you put it on Facebook?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so email me that and then I'm going to put up on the screen and play it. If you guys have never seen a dog smile ear to ear before, and out of pure joy of seeing its owners, you gotta watch this video. He's so cute, but he loves going on car rides. Doesn't matter where we go. Doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. Chad Shaw, AT's top fan. Awesome. Thank you, brother. He just signed up for YouTube memberships. But yeah, so you got that already queued up? I'm gonna load it up for you. Just give me a second here. She's telling me to hold on. Hold your horses. It was on your Facebook page, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I might be able to just find it. Then hold on. This is worth waiting for. And then I'll look at the model. Alright. Let's see. Okay. I was just looking. Man, you post a lot of stuff on Facebook. Good grief. Here it is. Okay. I got it. Okay, so let's put that on mute.
Teethers. There he is. Hi, baby. Hi, buddy. We're back. What are you doing down there? Where you still see you? I can still see you.
All right, how come I didn't replay? I don't want Eminem on there. Get that dude off. Here, hit the replay button.
Let's see those smiles. Hi. Hi. You're so happy. Oh, Teethers. There he is. Hi, baby. Hi, buddy. We're back. What are you doing down there? Where you still see you? I can still see you.
So anyway, so that's little Larry. he's the most smiling, happiest dog you've ever seen. It's hilarious. All right, so I just saw somebody said, "Shut up and give me the weather." Well, let's see. You're about 40 minutes too late to be making demands, ma'am. So little sugar and honey with that demand, and you just might get it. So let's go back to the main global model for the GFS. Remember, it's been coming in here. We're just going to look at the total for next week. And the old version of that model, which I've been using for most of this forecast since a week ago, past Tuesday, so it's 10 days or so, has been doing a great job. Still keeps about a solid inch here, so that's still going to be 2 feet of snow over the next, this storm system and the next one, through Thursday morning of next week. That is a lot of snow. Now we're going to go to the newer version of that model, and we're going to see how it does. And it's going to be a lot more. It has always been more, so it's an outlier. So I'm leery to trust it, but because it's new physics, new stuff, and so it hasn't been proven yet. It's in its beta form. It officially gets released, I think, in March. So we're going to see how it does, but it's 84 hours out, so we need another 5 minutes for it to finish covering the period. All right, so while that's doing it, somebody said they wanted to know a little recap. All right, so I'll give you a little recap. So let's do this on the timing and then the amounts. First off, real quick, there's already snow ongoing out there in western Oklahoma. It continues to expand and build. It's moving to the north and northeast, so it will eventually encompass central Oklahoma, but for now, it's out across western Oklahoma. It's very light, but it is beginning. All right, and then I didn't do this earlier, but I didn't need to, but there's a wind chill advisory, which means wind chills below 0. And there's a winter storm warning, which means snowfall amounts up to 10 inches likely with near blizzard-like conditions. So life-threatening, dangerous, etc., etc. Stay home if you can. Okay, so now let's go to the HER model, and I'm going to go to the Oklahoma Zoom. So remember, add the snow out there now. The models do not even know it's occurring. Sad, isn't it? And then what we're going to do is we're going to add up the QPF. So let me switch this over. We're going to do this guy first. So the blue on the map is the snow. And you can see how it blows up in the central Oklahoma after midnight. and this goes nuts through 6 a.m. So we're going to have a dusting of snow already, probably about 2 inches here in the metro area, central Oklahoma area. So if you live in and around anywhere in central Oklahoma, a couple inches of snow. That moves off to the east, but we have more that comes in after that. There's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, 12. It gets heavier in that midday period. Then that heavier snow starts to move into southeast Oklahoma, and then we start to dry out here for the late afternoon. There's still some light snow that moves through as the main system leaves overhead into a Sunday night, Monday morning, but that's about it. Temperatures, of course, are in the single digits. Wind chill values negative teens and negative 20s. Overall snowfall totals, we're just going to look at this one model, and it's not accurate. It's not, but I'm just going to show it to you. It has, 8 to 10 inches of snow widespread over central, northern, western Oklahoma. Where is it not accurate? Because somewhere there's going to be a nice, darker region of heavier snowfall totals, somewhere within this blue bounded box. And it may be in most of this blue bounded box where you're going to have about 12 inches of snow. All right. But the amounts out here in southeast Oklahoma are probably accurate, and then the ones up here northwest, as long as there's not too much dry air, probably pretty accurate too. But there's that sweet spot right here in the heart of the state. We're probably looking at about a foot of snow. Now, this is in addition to snow drifts, which will occur with the 30-mile-per-hour wind from the north, up around 2 and 3 feet, no problem. Maybe higher than that. I mean, depends on where it drifts to, right? There will be lake effect snow on the south and southwest side of the lake. How far out? I'm not sure. It may start within, the quarter of a mile, because you're going to have at least a little distance of where it'll fall from where it gets developed over the lake. And then that may extend outward a half a mile. It may extend outward a whole mile, 2 miles. There's going to be a ramp down, but somewhere within that range, that short range from the south side of the lake, you're going to get a lot of snow. You get 30 inches of snow out of that. That's in addition to whatever falls from the sky normally. So you have a combination of lake effect snow and then the actual storm system snow, plus the drifts. So that's a triple whammy for you. So I want to see some pictures of that with yardsticks and people as measurements in those particular cases. So hopefully that was helpful for you. This is my first time watching you. I used to watch you on TV. Amanda. Welcome, Amanda. Or Marcella. Yeah, Amanda. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I usually can't see the questions, Danielle. I just now glanced down at my phone. But when I'm looking at all the maps, I won't be able to see what you guys are saying. Jody will sometimes yell at me and get my attention over something. But anyway. All right, let's go back to the American model, the new one. Let's jump this one back out. And let's see how it does. Getting a little... Of course. So there's your 24 inches of snow, and this goes through Wednesday afternoon. And you can see how this includes central Oklahoma, another sweet spot. But you got heavier snows up here northwest, northeast, southeast, southern Oklahoma. So it's a good amount. Now, I will point this out. You've noticed this amounts, remember this is what happens now from this one system. It's the secondary system that comes in and these totals go up. Well, you've noticed there really wasn't any change down here in north central Texas. That's because we got to check the ice forecast, see what happens with that. See if that changes. Oh, and it does. All right, so that's the problem when you get south of the Red River in an Arctic air mass events. You get a little too much warm air advection, a little moderation of that Arctic air, but above it aloft, you're pretty close to the Gulf of Mexico. So you can get really warm enough nose at 850 millibars, which transfers all that either over to sleet or sheets of ice. And right now it's calling for an ice storm here in northern and northeastern Texas for that secondary storm system. That's not good. Now it still has snow for all of Oklahoma, it looks like. And I will, let me plot a sounding just to see if it's going to be sleet or ice. So let's do this here. And I'll just pick Dallas County. And we'll see what the sounding looks like. Yeah, I'm afraid so. All right, so this little nose right here, that is to the right of this dashed blue line. This right here is warm air. that shows up on a balloon sounding. This is a forecast sounding from the model. And so it's got this warm nose, which will lead to freezing rain. Now, surface temperatures here, it has it right at the critical 32 degrees. If, for whatever reason, saving grace, Dallas will warm to 33, then it's not a problem. All right? It's just if it's 32 or lower. So that'll be a mess. That'll be a hard forecast, and I won't have time to get into that tonight. But if you guys do live around the Dallas-Fort Worth, you might want to start paying attention to your local guys. I'm sure that some of them can figure that out and let you know what's going to happen with your precipitation type. But it doesn't look good overall. Okay, so let's get back to the snow for Oklahoma and the surrounding areas. So as the model finishes coming in through Thursday, there it is. There's your 2 feet of snow. So that's actually a little pocket there, 26 inches. Here in, looks like Muskogee, and over here in Seminole County. So that'll be your hot spots, just off this one model, by the way. So odds of being exactly that at this point in time this far out, pretty close to 0, but it gives you the general idea and the general trend. And this trend has not changed. It's been pretty solid. So right now, until things change, that's just the forecast you go with, which is strange to say. I could call for 2 feet of snow in 1 week time, but I would say stranger things have happened, but I'm pretty sure they haven't. Pretty sure it's about as strange as it gets. So anyway, let's see. All right, so let me go to a couple of questions, and then I'm going to wrap this up because it's 10 o'clock. So let me do a little of this and a little bit of that. Brandon Riley, I see you on YouTube with Keep It Up. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the tip. Thanks again for all y'all's comments on YouTube and being quite talkative and participating. It's good, always good to see everybody on different platforms to use them to their fullest attention. If you guys are on Periscope and Twitter, I have not loaded that yet. I'm just now loading it. So if you have any questions, shoot them real quick. And then my patrons, let's head over to you guys on my Facebook page there. Keep it up. All right, so let me see. What do we got here? Well, we got a lot of love for Larry is what we got. All right, let's scroll through. So Jake has a time lapse going. Now that would be good to see. 24-hour time lapse. Let's do it. Looking forward to seeing that end result. Nikki says, guaranteed high traffic. Put a video of little Larry playing in the snow on your website tomorrow. You know, Karen says, what breed? It's a little Yorkie, little toy breed. Smallest they come. And actually, he's like danger small. I mean, he's 3 pounds. That's it. So he's the tiniest of the tiny. I don't think they're getting tinier than that. But what's funny is he doesn't mind a dusting of snow or an inch of snow. Like out there, last couple of days, he'll run right through it when he's on a mission. No problem. But the last time we had 6 inches of snow, he wouldn't go anywhere near it. And I was like, what happened, tough guy? So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Well, there's a foot of snow. What are you going to do, man? He just gets, I think he just gets surrounded. It's too deep because he can't see over it. Doesn't know where he's going. So I think that's what freaks him out. What about Mississippi near Jackson for ice? Kayla wants to know. Yeah, you guys are in a big winter storm over there. I'd watch your local guys for more details on that, other than the fact that, yeah, it's a mess. This is a big storm. Day, is there a site that tracks the validity of various models against outcomes? So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to try to do that from various people that have lots of money and computing power. And the ones that are successful keep a lid on it because that's an edge, right? So, but the Weather Service obviously does, but they keep a lid on it. So outside of their small group, they don't share it. And there's some private companies, probably IBM, they probably do it to some degree. There's probably others. But yeah, if we all had access to the data, it would make all of our job a lot easier. But in those, when you talk about big dollars, you got to find some kind of edge over your competition. So they'll do anything they can to get that, to help their meteorologist out. All right, so I'm on the main Facebook page now. I can only see the last 20 comments. Let's see. The ice for Texas is down across southern and southeastern Texas, you know, in the first like 5 counties inland. So if you have any friends, relative down there, they'll be dealing with ice, and that extends into Louisiana. So yes, I'll be down in southern half of Louisiana. I can show you the map here in a minute. Mark says, keep playing Tom McDonald. I probably won't, only because I was doing it as kind of a little fun for my haters that are out there for the last couple of days. That was just a love sent to them. And but some people don't like that kind of music, so I'm already getting some anger faces out of it. But I got a lot of music to choose from, so we'll see. Stuart wants to know, can you cover Tulsa real quick? All right, Stuart, you'll get snow tomorrow morning through Monday morning, and you'll get about close to a foot. There you go. Why are the local guys really downplaying this in Tulsa? Well, ask the local guys. I don't know. Did you say what time this starts Sunday night? Sunday night? You mean ends? This starting now, tonight. I am from South Dakota, so I know what to do in this weather. Heather, preach it, Heather. Fill us in on your tips and tricks. Let's see. Bring all of the Larrys in. Jennifer, yes. Obviously, if you have some pets that are sensitive to the cold, which probably most of them, especially this kind of cold, you're going to have to help them out. At least put them in the garage at a minimal with some heat, blankets, that kind of stuff. I now have the same models you're using, just getting used to it. Ronnie, got it. Michelle, thank you, Aaron. You're welcome. My mom says she believes in you more than the others on TV. We converted her. That's great to hear. Yay, Mom. Let's see. Tim says, now you know why Yorkies don't get to 50 pounds. They'd kill us all. That's no joke, man. Let's see. What time will the roads in Oklahoma City be dangerous tomorrow? All right. Well, that's an open-ended question. All right. So here, my take is, obviously, if you drive well and you've got a adequately equipped car, you can drive on any snow-covered road. They do it all the time in the north. It's the people around you that may not be so well equipped, which causes reaction issues and chain reaction issues. With a couple inches on the ground, it's a dry, powdery snow. It may not be that big of a deal at the beginning, but at some point it will get deep enough to slow things down and then cause some issues. But that may not happen until closer to noon by that time period. But also keep in mind, you got reduced visibilities down to almost nothing, and you got winds blowing around 30 miles an hour. So it's just a mess. I wouldn't want to do it, especially if you have a long trek to go. I mean, what would normally take you, maybe 20 minutes could end up taking you an hour. And then what would normally take you maybe a 3-hour trip would take you 6 hours. I mean, I don't know if I'd do that. I mean, if you have a choice, obviously, choose not to. Came in late. Weather's still looking crazy for Dallas on Wednesday. Lauren, yes it is, if you like ice. Let's see. Any idea on flying out of Amarillo? I do not. But I do know that the airlines continue to try to keep things going. But once you have a reduced visibility where they can't take off, that becomes an issue. So, and of course, snow piling up too quick before they can get either the planes de-iced or the runways cleared off. So at some point, things will go downhill. But obviously, until that point, they'll try to keep moving, even be it with delays. Let's see. Because they fly out of, like Canada all the time with snow on the ground. They spend 30 minutes de-icing a plane. And sometimes they go back and do it a second time. So Reagan says, hey Aaron, not that I don't enjoy the snow, but what happened to the warm and dry winter predictions in September? I'm truly curious. I'm more curious as to who told you it was going to be warm and dry. And why were you listening to them? Because it wasn't me. Because I know better. So that's my question right back to you. And that'll teach you to do that again, won't it? Let's see. Krista says, thanks for making us smile with Larry. You're welcome. Listen, anytime Larry smiles, and it's funny, it's because you can egg him on. When he looks at you, he does the Elvis lip quiver. A little bit of this. And then when he does, you just go, hi. And then he'll start doing even more. You go, hi. And then he'll just like even more, and he'll start smiling. So it's so cute. Let's see. People were lined up outside the Walmart waiting to get in Tulsa tonight. Oh my goodness. I figure they've already cleaned everything out by now. Oh, some people didn't get paid, and they had to shop after work today. I'm surprised you even have any food left to buy, though. When I went after dinner on Thursday, the neighborhood Walmart by my house cleaned out. They didn't have anything left. It was crazy. Dana says, my Yorkie's less than 3 pounds. I have 2 of them, and they sleep in my bed under the covers. Larry'd get too hot. He'd crawl back out. Brandy says, I have not watched the TV for weather updates in over a year. Go Aaron. Woohoo! Go Brandy! That's what I'm talking about. See, don't you feel much better already? You don't have to surround yourself with all that negative news. Aaron, may I please have the snowfall for Tahlequah? Sure, Marcella, 8 inches. Talked about Texas and the freeze. Does that include Corpus? Yes, it does. Matter of fact, let's see what's going on down there. Since you're still with me, you get rewarded. By the way, that snow's expanding. Bigger and more out here in western Oklahoma. It keeps on going. All right, so let's go on down south. We're going to head down to South Texas. Okay, so you said Corpus, right? Is that what I read? So down here, they are under a freeze watch and a wind chill watch and a winter storm warning. So they got it all going on down there. That's down in Corpus Christi. So you can see how far south this nasty weather goes. And in Houston, same kind of idea. A hard freeze watch, winter storm warning, and wind chill watch. Now, all these watches will turn into warnings once they get within their required window time frame. So, good question. All right. Let's see. I just watched the weather on TV. Holy poo. Not even close to what you were saying. Mark, last night Channel 5 apologized for their warm and dry winter. Oh, that's a shame. One of the TV nerds, I was curious because they were talking about La Nina or El Nino to get them confused. So, the La Nina and El Nino are they're drivers of the weather, but they're not the only driver. There's a lot of drivers, plus the interactions of those. We're still learning all that. It's even though we've known about this phenomenon and we've been studying it for about the last 20 years, that's a short period of time, believe it or not, in a global sense of trying to pick out what defines weather, what drives it the most, and how you can then transfer all the way that down to where you live, and then maybe say, well, how is that going to affect tornadoes? How does that affect hurricanes? That's a lot of research. And a lot of times there's a lot of this that doesn't have anything really to back it up with. And so that's what you see out there right now. It's a lot of that. There's very little skill overall. Trust me, because I know I've looked at that, I've tried it, it just doesn't work. One day it will, along with other knowledge that's combined with it, but for right now, no. So, let's see here. So Channel 4 is saying a total of 13 inches out of both storms. All right, well, good for them. Galen, it's going to be a couple of inches on the ground by 6 a.m. So it's not bad when we first start out the day. It's just, it keeps going on. Jason, Save us, Aaron. The news guys basically are saying it's worse than the pandemic. Listen, man, nothing is worse than everything in the world attached to that pandemic. Yeah, I said that right. Don't even get me started. I had to check out. Remember, I'm a scientist. All I care about is data and facts. I do not care about politicians and money chasers and people that profit and, you know, all that stuff. I just care about the data, what the actual says, and then how you can deal with that type of stuff. I'm interested in that. And then once I learned all that, I was good. But then when I saw all the nonsense that went along with it, I was just like, whatever, man. So I had to check out to keep my sanity. So I live in a bubble now. I am now the Seinfeld bubble boy when it comes to that stuff. Don't want to know, don't care, leave me alone. Because otherwise, I'm gonna get real angry. And you won't like me when I'm angry. I turn really green and I grow big. Oh my goodness, Ada, you're just joining. Okay, listen. It's been over an hour. How are you just now joining? I just want to know. Just inquiring minds want to know. Fill me in, and then I'll give you your quick update. Let's see. Oh, don't worry, Ashley. You're going to get your snow in Ardmore. Going to be plowing, so thanks, Aaron. Galen, you got it. Get some sleep. Going to be a long day. Yeah, you get some sleep. It's going to be a long day and long night. My goodness. Woo. Yes, it is very powdery snow, Elizabeth. So it's a dry snow, so it's not going to work good for snowmen or snowballs. It's going to be pretty to look at, though. So, Al Putnam. Oh, get over yourself. Listen, if you can't have a little fun, then you shouldn't be here. And if you take yourself too seriously, you might as well just move on. So go somewhere else and puke. Take your puke with you. Nobody wants to smell it on this feed. I was putting super away and then took a shower. Oh, putting supper away. Got it. All right, well, then you have a good excuse. All right, so we'll go back and look at the model real quick. What else we got? Jeremy was watching a movie and forgot. Hope it was a good movie. John says I had to deal with the alarm at our church. What's the latest? Oh my goodness. Sean's just now joining from Dallas. Oh my goodness. Oh, sounds like we got to do an update here. Norman numbers one more time. Chris, boy, I'll say. Oh, Al, I got you now. Yeah, I totally missed your joke. Anyway, it's funny. I didn't even get my own joke from your joke. It's get late. All right, let's do this. Let's just get on with the updates so everybody can get out of here and go to bed or go drink or go whatever. This will be a really fast update. Stick with me. Hang in there. All right, real quick, light snow is already breaking out across western Oklahoma. It will continue to progress eastward and build throughout the night. You'll probably wake up about 2 inches of snow anywhere across central to northwest Oklahoma, maybe in this little batch here for sure. But then we've got heavier snow that's moving in from the west with the main system line, and that will come in as well. So you might even get an inch or two of snow out here in northwest Oklahoma when you wake up. And it will snow off and on all day long. So it's just a matter of time before you start to see snow. Now, in eastern Oklahoma, you'll still see snow, but it won't be until the morning hours. So Tulsa, for example, probably about the time you wake up, 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, models on this, they've finally gotten a handle a little bit better at the snow ratios and QPF numbers. So it's not perfect, but at least it's better than what it was, which is why I didn't even show them there for, was it yesterday and earlier today. I mainly just did the calculations myself. But they did a little bit better. So they got about a foot here in central Oklahoma, stretching up to the north and east towards Stillwater. Now this little heavy spot around here could go in toward Tulsa, so be very close, but you're gonna have a hot spot somewhere out in here in the heart of Oklahoma, lined up southwest to northeast. It's gonna be very difficult to find out where that is, but regardless, everywhere else around it, 7, 8 inches of snow is going to be easy to come by. The exception will be down here in southeast Oklahoma. They'll probably get 4 inches of snow. And the wild card is out here if there's any dry air that comes in to northwest Oklahoma. That may mess up your totals. Otherwise, 10 inches of snow probably at least, just because your snow ratio is a little better out there. All right, so that's the first system. Then the second system comes in Tuesday, and that leaves Wednesday morning. And with that comes another round of snow. So another foot of snow, if you believe the model data, because we'll still have a pretty good snow ratio around 20-1. So that should mean, we get 0.6 liquid of QPF, in other words, the equivalent of rain. You multiply that by 20, and you get about 12 inches of snow. So that would be what we would get for that secondary storm system, and that's a big swath here. So this is a combination of both. So we'll see what happens with this. This is still in the extended, so there's time to massage these numbers and see how they work out. If I were to look at the upper levels of the atmosphere, it's going to give us a little clue. First off, this first system that comes in, it has just a little bit of a hint of closing off right here. In other words, the energy tries to wrap back around it. And usually when that happens, you get a little bit better lift, a little bit better moisture and instability with that. And that's going to, all the colors represent lift in the atmosphere. So that's the upper level of the system for tomorrow. Now that one moves on by. And then the second one starts to push some energy through here with the colors. That's lift in the atmosphere as we head into Wednesday evening, into Wednesday night. It tries to cut off a little, but it's more of a broadened trough axis. So it's not necessarily a closed low, but it does have a lot of lift with it. So even though it's not a closed low, there's a lot of colors on the map indicating a lot of lift, and then that moves on by, and then that's out of here. And we got other systems lined up later in the forecast period, but as far as these two, that's it, and we get at least a break for a little while. Now, this is where the models usually error, and that's in the extended warm-up stage. So we're going to be obviously in the single digits, and then below zero. I mean, Tuesday morning will be our coldest, more than likely. We're going to have wind temperatures here close to -20 in the snowpack over some sweet spot here where you get the big snows in central Oklahoma. I mean, that's just going to be record-breaking brutal. But anyway, so we'll start to moderate a little bit during the week. You can see the models are trying to get us out of the 20s. Overnight lows, though, are still cold. I mean, there's plenty of cold nights ahead. Here's Saturday, and it says, hey, we might actually get above freezing. And I don't know. With all the snow on the ground, it's going to be hard to do. The model, you can at least has an idea of this outline that there's probably a little snow cover left and residual left over of where the Arctic air mass resides. So those are always hard to moderate, and usually the models are a little about a day or two too soon at moderating the temperatures. So the weekend it should be cold, and I doubt we'll get above freezing. But after that, the following week, as long as there's no new additional intrusions, we should hopefully start to moderate and warm things up. But the pattern itself is still pretty chilly for the month in general. We just might get some temporary brief breaks out of that. All right, so there's your long-term forecast, and then what takes you into the short term. Yeah, I could go in and spend the whole time. Sorry, my nose is itching. I don't know how I get allergies when it's 10 degrees outside. There should be nothing alive. So it's got to be something in my house I'm allergic to. So my nose been itching all day and sneezing. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do, and I've talked about all this other stuff that I'm blue in the face about: pipes, plants, pets, car care, travel preparations, how you dress in layers, watch out for frostbite, hypothermia, protect your pools, your lines there, your lines around your house, inside and out, open up your doors, stay off the ponds, lakes, don't let the kids play on them. If you are without power, what to do in that situation. I mean, there's so much out there to try to cover, so a lot of these lives went pretty long, winded just because of that. But all right, listen, I want to thank you guys for the stars. I see you still dropping me a few here, so I do appreciate that. I've said pretty much all there is to say at this point in time. Even Larry made an appearance to the masses. He was summoned, I'm going to say. Turns out they wanted me off the air and Larry on the air. So we brought Larry out for a little while. So I'm glad you guys find him adorable as I do, and Jody does. But anyway, so I'm going to get out of here, and then I'll check in with you at some point tomorrow, and we'll just see how things are going. But it's a snowstorm. It's a winter storm, and it'll be a big one, and we'll just go from there. All right, you guys be safe, be careful, sleep well tonight, and enjoy the snow on the positive side, and we'll just go from there. All right, see you, everybody.